I'm Hristian Christoph, and I'm 27 years old. I'm here today to tell you about my story and how I got to be a nominee for the selection of Forbes 30 Under 30. 8 years ago, I decided I want to go abroad and study. I did ecology and marine biology. This is something I've always been very keen into. After I graduated, I wanted to go into corporations and see what the world there is. Finding out 11 months later that this is really not my world, and I decided I want to come back to Bulgaria and transfer all the skills that I've learned and all the knowledge that I've got already. I was in a lot of volunteering organizations in the UK, and we did a lot of management for nature reserves, for different parks. So that also gave me a lot of experience. Of course, coming back home was a new chapter for me, was a new challenge. And I found out that there was an opportunity to become a director of the Nature and Animal Conservation Center in Dobrich, Bulgaria. This is my hometown, and it really has a special place in my heart and in my soul. The place itself, it has a really interesting concept. It was built in different times than most of the zoos in Eastern Europe. So we don't have cages, we don't have concrete. The animals that we look after, we really see as ambassadors. What I'm trying to develop essentially is a huge community of people that are really interested in what I do. Starting at the position, I wanted to transfer all the skills and experience that I already gained. I saw the potential in the place itself, but there were still a lot of flaws. So my idea was to make the place more sustainable, to build a local community of people that are always ready to help us. Those are our volunteers that I really rely on now these days. I started with the infrastructure at first, because the conditions for the animals and the park itself are very important. We started gaining new animals also, but we always have a good idea of why we take the responsibility to look after a particular animal. All of the conditions of the animals are semi-natural, so they live a good life and they have a social structure. They're able to breed also. And we work for several breeding programs for endangered species. Those are the Przewalski horses program, for example, and the European wood bison. We live in a very agricultural area, so I got in touch with most of the local businessmen. I managed to talk them into helping us with food and donations. So that is a huge motivation to me, because without this community, without all those people that are helping us constantly, we wouldn't be able to be what we are. For the past 3 years and a half, I managed to develop the place, to make it much more familiar to people and much more famous destination. So it's very attractive today. We have new species, and altogether we look after almost 500 animals of 87 currently species. The zoo itself is one of the first licensed in Bulgaria. Something that I'm really proud of is the animal hospital that we created. We licensed this hospital, and essentially we're working as a rescue center for wild animals. We rehabilitate those animals when they come over. Mostly those are animals that have suffered by poachers. Those are animals that were struck by a car, by electric fences, and so on, or just sick animals or young animals that are in need. On that note, sometimes when we manage to rehabilitate them fully, we release them back in the wild, in their natural habitat. If we're not able to do that with a particular animal, then it stays with us, and we provide the best conditions possible for it to have a good quality life. This process is very transparent. I work with most of the local schools and especially with the veterinary school that we have in Dobrich. So they come over and see the work closely. This way we help them gain knowledge in the area and see things as they are in the field. An area that I really pay a lot of attention to is the kids and their development. I want them to live closely to nature and know that the animals should be protected, the nature should be respected. So what we did is for the past 3 years we had a green school for the summer period with over 30 students being with us every day. I hired 2 teachers and we prepare a special program for them to spend every day with us. This way they really learn to look after the animals and they learn to help each other more. In the very beginning, a very important step that I undertook was creating the website and creating the social media platforms for the zoo center in Dobrich. That was because I want our activities to be as transparent as possible, and I want people to be informed so we can build the local community even more. We have really good results for the past 3.5 years. We have more than doubled our animals. Most of them are breeding currently and live a happy life, a very healthy life also. We really built a local community where people are helping, people are coming over, they socialize between each other, and it's really helpful for the young people in a place like Dobrich. In general, I see myself as a realistic, idealistic person. I can see how the place can really become a good example. In fact, it already is, because we have been outlined by a few organizations as a really good example in Eastern Europe, and I want to continue on that road. For that to be possible, we need a lot of investments, we need good infrastructure, we need fences, we need roofs for the animals, and we need to be more sustainable. Although the place has a really good concept and it started very well in the beginning, in the 2000s, it was very neglected over the years and it went downhill, let's say. Things nowadays are becoming modern, and the modern zoo has the vision of being a breeding center, of being an educational center, and this is my ambition also. So the zoo center in Dobrich is a municipality firm, which would mean that we really are struggling for investments, and our budget is very low, bearing in mind the economical state of the country and the municipality itself. I understand fully that without external investments, the zoo wouldn't be able to become what I imagine it as, and I believe that this is very useful for the population altogether. To end things on the positive side, I can see how we are already very recognized as an organization, and people are becoming very dedicated. In general, I showed that our work is very valuable, is very important. We can see good results, and I see a lot of people being dedicated to my mission. There's still a long way to go, and I believe that the development of the Nature and Animal Conservation Center in Dobrich is crucial to altogether to become a very good example of how things are possible here in Bulgaria, and hopefully we can continue working full way.